Hello everyone! In today's video, we're going to talk about a pretty surprising leak regarding a team composition that has been the subject of speculation within the community for quite some time. As always, everything discussed in this video comes from sources that are generally considered reliable. Running out of Stellar Jade and Honkai starrail? Don't worry, there's a more budget-friendly solution. Now you can top up in-game safely, quickly, and at a lower price through U7buy. And it's not just Honkai starrail, other games are available too, all in one place. Still not sure? No problem. You can check U7buy's reviews directly on Trustpilot, so it's transparent and trustworthy. For comparison, 80 oniric shards cost around $100 in the official store, but on U7buy, it's much cheaper. The process is also instant. Just select your server, enter your UID, and the balance is delivered straight to your account, no hassle. Don't forget to use code BOOM for a 5% discount. Click the link in my description or pinned comment to visit U7buy. In the previous video, we took a comprehensive look at everything that might be coming in version 4.5, from the new characters to the upcoming skins. If you haven't watched that discussion yet, I highly recommend checking it out first. Today, we're going to focus on something different but just as interesting, a leak regarding a very unique team composition that's been getting a lot of attention recently. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. As many of you probably already know, there's one particular team concept that's generated a lot of discussion, especially among players who enjoy collecting male characters. I'm talking about the full male team composition. As the name suggests, this is a team made up entirely of male characters, with no female characters included at all. This kind of team is actually pretty rare in gacha games, since most titles tend to feature significantly more female characters than male ones. The latest information comes from DK2 via HXG leaks. A few days ago, DK2 stated that the all-male team concept is still valid and remains something players should keep an eye on. In another post, DK2 went even further by saying the team would consist of Ashveil, MBlade, and Aventurine SP. In other words, the wheelchair duo we've gotten to know, Ashveil and MBlade, would finally be joined by a third member, Aventurine SP. If we look back at everything we've previously learned about Aventurine SP's kit, this lineup actually starts to make sense. According to Uncle B via Galaxy Leaks, Aventurine SP is an elation character focused on follow-up attacks. He's capable of advancing actions and triggering additional follow-up attacks. However, there's one major restriction. Aventurine SP reportedly doesn't function well alongside other elation characters. Instead, his kit is designed around being the only elation character in the team. This lines up with information from Full Stop Chan via HXG, who also claimed that although Aventurine SP belongs to the elation path, he isn't intended to team up with other elation units. Instead, his kit supposedly performs best when he's the only elation character on the team. Of course, it's worth remembering that Full Stop Chan also mentioned this information was still very early and could easily change. Given those mechanics, it's actually pretty reasonable that Ashveil and MBlade would become ideal teammates for Aventurine SP. Ashveil functions as a follow-up attack sub-DPS. Meanwhile, MBlade is a very flexible support who also performs especially well alongside characters that attack frequently. Since neither of them belongs to the elation path, this trio would theoretically satisfy Aventurine SP's unique team-building requirement. To complete the lineup, you'd simply need one male sustain character. There are several options. The original Aventurine is an obvious candidate thanks to his own follow-up attack mechanics. Dan Heng PT remains one of the strongest sustain characters in the game. Or you could even consider Luo Cha or Gallagher, especially since MBlade appreciates having a dedicated healer to prevent his HP from dropping too low. If your Dan Heng PT doesn't have his signature light cone yet, both Luo Cha and Gallagher could be excellent alternatives for anyone interested in building a full male team. Interestingly, though, this entire discussion isn't actually new. Rumors about a full male team have been circulating since March 26, roughly 3 months ago. The first source to mention it was Full Stop Chan via HXG. At the time, they claimed that a patch 4.x would eventually introduce a male-focused team consisting of Aventurine SP, Ashveil, and MBlade SP. They even pointed out something rather interesting. For some reason, Hoyoverse appeared to be releasing these characters separately, similar to how the Hexenzirkel members have been introduced over time in Genshin Impact. And looking back now, that observation was actually pretty accurate. Ashveil released in version 4.1. MBlade arrived in version 4.3. And Aventurine SP is expected in version 4.5. With that release pattern, it's entirely possible that the full male lineup wouldn't truly come together until Aventurine SP finally arrives. However, not everyone agreed with that interpretation. At the time, Mortis pushed back against the rumor through Galaxy leaks. According to Mortis, MBlade should basically be viewed as a universal support, which has turned out to be fairly accurate. Mortis also explained that Hoyoverse constantly changes its internal plans. At that point, there were no plans to specifically pair Aventurine SP with Ashveil. That doesn't necessarily mean they can't be played together. It simply means that Ashveil wasn't intended to be Aventurine SP's mandatory or optimal partner. Mortis even added an interesting remark. He suggested that some leaks aren't necessarily false, they're simply outdated. In other words, according to Mortis, Aventurine SP and Ashveil weren't designed to share the same optimal team. Later, Mortis posted another warning telling players not to place too much confidence in the all-male team rumors. He emphasized that the concept had never been confirmed and was merely one possible direction. He even suggested that the idea might have been abandoned altogether. Finally, before going on hiatus once again, Mortis made one last statement on his new channel. He said people tend to believe whatever they want to believe. He then asked a simple question. If Hoyoverse truly intended to build a dedicated full male team, why would they avoid using Dan Hung PT? Mortis argued that everyone had already noticed this contradiction. They simply chose to ignore it because it didn't fit the narrative they wanted to believe. Even until the very end, Mortis remained consistent in saying that the rumored full male team wasn't real. Looking at everything Mortis said, it seems his main point was that Ashveil and Aventurine SP wouldn't actually be played together. What's interesting, however, is that he never really addressed MBlade. And that opens up another possibility. Maybe Aventurine SP only truly needs MBlade, but not Ashveil. If that's the case, perhaps Ashveil ends up being replaced by someone else who also specializes in follow-up attacks. One character that immediately comes to my mind is Tribby, so it's entirely possible that Tribby ends up becoming Aventurine SP's actual teammate instead. Of course, that's just my own personal speculation, and the final result could be completely different from what Mortis actually meant. Overall, the situation is honestly pretty confusing. On one side, we have two separate sources, Full Stop Chan and DK2, both suggesting that a full male team is still happening. On the other side, we have Mortis, one of the most reliable leakers, consistently rejecting that idea from beginning to end. Personally, I think plenty of players will still build this team regardless of whether it ends up being the absolute best option or simply a viable alternative. The appeal of running a team made up entirely of male characters is something that many players will probably find hard to resist, even if it isn't technically the strongest composition available. So what do you think about all of this? Are you excited about the possibility of a full male team composition? Or do you trust Mortis' perspective that this team was never actually meant to become a real archetype? Let me know your thoughts and theories in the comments below. And with that, we've reached the end of today's discussion. Thank you all so much for watching all the way to the end. Don't forget to share this video with your fellow Honkai starrail players so they can stay up to date with the latest information. And as always, your support through likes and subscriptions means a lot and helps the channel continue creating informative content in the future. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next discussion.